Tonight, on Open Mic Night of the Living Dead, we're doing something a little bit different. It's our very first horror villain draft.
The creature's creeping right behind you. I hope you finally find a little slice of peace and light. 'Cause it comes crashing down tonight. Welcome to the open mic. When we call your name, you'll die. But there's no need to dread. This is the open mic night of the living dead.
All right.
Okay.
Here we are.
Yes, we are.
Last week we covered A Quiet Place.
Yeah, we
And we were
did.
trying to figure out what we could do for an encore. And we did do one draft previously. I think after we watched Night of the Living Dead, we did a zombie movie draft.
We did indeed.
But at this point, we've now covered 20 movies.
I can't believe that, man.
And so we're going to do a horror villain draft from the 20 movies that we have done deep dives on for this show. Yeah?
Yes, this is a really good idea. And this was your idea. I'm really impressed by this idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Once a year, one idea. That's what I say. But I say it like the old-timey, the accent, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Once a year, one idea.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the other direction and do like a Northern Maine once a year, which you can do better than me because
I'm not sure I can.
once a year.
Although I get accused of having an accent sometimes.
That's weird. I don't think you do, but I guess I don't think I do either. I don't know. What do you think, listeners?
Yeah, that's the first thing we want them chipping in on. Chipping in? Chipping in? What's chipping in, baby? All right. So what we're going to do is Rachel and I are each going to pick, we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to pick a movie villain from all of these 20 movies. So at the end of that, Rachel and I will each have 10 team members. And then we're going to tabulate, we're going to add up the scores for each of those villains. And I'm going to tell you now how we got those scores. There were 3 criteria that we narrowed it down to. Do you want to tell us what those criteria are?
They are scare effectiveness.
And that was worth up to 30 points. So for each of these villains, Rachel and I each graded them secretly from each other.
Yes. We don't know what the other person's ranking is. And for scare effectiveness, I went with a personal tilt on this or more than a global tilt. So like kind of like my ranking system, my rating system.
Well, either way, as long as the way we did it is independently consistent, then that's all that matters.
Good call.
What was the second criteria?
Deadliness or threat level.
And that was worth up to 20 points. And then
we've got horror legacy and or cultural impact.
And that was worth up to 15 points. So theoretically, if there was a villain who was so scary that they would get 30 points, and then they were incredible, like 100% deadly, they'd get 20 points. And if they had a big horror legacy or cultural impact as well, then they could get up to 15 points. And so for each of these villains, we scored within that rubric, right?
Yes. And this had me thinking about the movies in a really different way that I really enjoyed. And I think it's going to be neat to hear about how you thought about these as well.
And so those gave a total score for each villain when you add those 3 categories up.
Yep.
And if there were ties, what we did was we then made a very this is entirely subjective anyway, but we made the subjective decision to bump one of them above the other.
Exactly.
And we each came up with a ranking of 1 to 20 for each of these villains.
I will say that I was surprised by my own ranking once we had graded them on these different things. So I don't know if that happened for you.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think the tops and bottoms were pretty clear to me, but we'll talk about it more.
We'll get there.
Once we had our final ranking of 1 to 20, I used sort of scale point system. So now we've forgotten the points we've done before. We use those to get the ranking.
Yep.
And now we've done a tiered sort of curve scale, would you say?
Yeah, it's great. I love this little model that you've built.
With number 1 being 100 points total, and the lowest was like 30?
34.
34.
Yeah.
And basically there are wider gaps between the higher level villains, the top ranked, and then they get a little closer as they get to the bottom. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that looks to be pretty accurate.
So, anyway, the first thing that I want to do is have you tell us who all the villains are.
Sure. Let me tell you. And this is in order of how we covered them, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
All right. So, in order of of deep dive episodes that we've done here, we've got Ghostface from Scream, Pazuzu from The Exorcist, the Deadites from The Evil Dead, the Slow Zombies from Night of the Living Dead, Jerry Dandridge from Fright Night, The Thing from The Thing, Michael Myers from Halloween, the Crawlers from The Descent, Mrs. Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
And that's an important distinction on that movie.
Yes.
Because we only have watched the first Friday the 13th.
Exactly. And so it is not Jason, as you might reflexively think.
Is it too late to say spoiler alert? On a couple of these, knowing the villain might be a slight spoiler.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Well, hopefully that first one, if you didn't know it, it's real old. So, and then we've got Billy from Black Christmas. We've got Billy Chapman from Silent Night, Deadly Night. Death from Final Destination. Norman Bates, Psycho. Candyman from Candyman. Remmick and his vampires from Sinners. Russ Thorn from the Slumber Party Massacre. The Overlook Hotel from The Shining. Bill Roberts from Intruder. The Monstrosity from Smile. And the Death Angels from A Quiet Place.
Fantastic.
It's a great list. It's a great list of movies, great list of villains.
I certainly wouldn't want to be caught in a locked room with any of these. I don't know how you get caught in a locked room with the Overlook Hotel. It'd be a gigantic room, but you get my point. We're going to pick our teams, and then I'm going to ask Rachel for her ranking scores, and we're going to average the score for each villain that we gave them. And then we're going to total them up to see whose team of 10 tops the terrific list.
Tier.
Tier.
We could fit the word tier in there somewhere. Great. Yeah, that's great. I think that sounds good. How do we pick who goes first?
I think that you should go first since I'm feeling generosity in my soul tonight.
I appreciate that. Okay, this actually was my biggest surprise when I kind of just scored these instinctually, but...
Wait, what? You're not going to give your ranking. You're making a pick.
I'm making a pick.
But
I'm basing my pick on my ranking.
That's the other cool thing about this is that we have our ranking, so we can kind of pick what we've rated because we know what our top scores are.
Exactly. And so thinking about it all in comparison to one another, I am going to go with Death from Final Destination.
Okay. And I'm marking these down here so I don't lose track. Let me see. All right. I'm going to take Michael Myers.
Okay. That's fine. I am going to go with Candyman next.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to go with the Monstrosity from Smile.
Okay. Oh, this one's tricky. I'm going to go with Ghostface from Scream.
All right. I'm going to go with the Death Angels from A Quiet Place.
Okay. I'm having trouble keeping up. Hold on a second.
So far, we each have 3.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then next, I'm going to go with The Thing. What's complicated is what I'm writing on is not the same list that I'm looking at for my ranking. And so they're 2 lists in totally different orders. And so to mark it off, I have to look away from The Thing. Anyway, what's your next pick?
My next pick is going to be the Crawlers from The Descent.
All right. I'm going to go with the Overlook Hotel from The Shining.
I'm going to go with Pazuzu from The Exorcisto. or the Exorcist, as they say in the United States.
So as we keep going now, I'm trying to see which ones are left. Okay, next up, I'm going to grab the Deadites from the Evil Dead.
Rachel takes the Deadites.
And are we halfway through our list?
At least.
Oh yeah, we're a little bit over half, so we're getting there. These two lists are really more complicated than it should be.
My next pick is going to be our good old boy, Norman Bates.
Yeah.
From the Bates Motel.
All right. I'm going to go with Remmick and his vampire clan from Sinners.
I shall take the best of neighbors. No, I'm not talking about Fred Rogers' children. I'm talking about Jerry Dandridge from Fright Night.
All right. I am going to pick Russ Thorn from the Slumber Party Massacre. Also not someone you would want at a neighborhood gathering.
He seems like a delight. I'm going to go with Billy Black Christmas.
All right, that means I am going to pick the zombies from Night of the Living Dead.
Then I'm going to take the other Christmassy Billy Chapman from Silent Night, Deadly Night.
All right. You got 2 of the 3 Bills so far on your team.
That's what they call me.
Triple Bill. I'm going to take Mrs. Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
I guess that leaves me with the last Bill.
That does.
Bill from Intruder.
You've got all 3 Bills.
All right, tell me your team. Tell the listeners your team. I'm just happy to be here, you know?
All right, so my team includes, in chronological order, from when we watched them, Ghostface, the Deadites, Slow Zombies, The Thing, Mrs. Voorhees, Death itself, Candyman, Remmick and his vampires, the Overlook Hotel, and that's it. So I've just got the Overlook Hotel full of a bunch of scary folks, creatures, and killers.
Yeah, it's fun you got a place to put them.
I did.
Team John is as follows. Pazuzu from The Exorcist. Jerry Dandridge. Michael Myers. The Crawlers. Billy from Black Christmas. Billy from Silent Night, Deadly Night. Norman Bates. Bill from Intruder. The Monstrosity from Smile. And the Death Angels from A Quiet Place. Pretty terrifying world.
Did I remember to say Russ Thorn from Slumber Party Massacre?
I think you did.
Okay, because I wrote a J next to it, which isn't correct.
No, it's not correct.
Okay. Well, I don't know. We'll have to go back and listen.
But
I'm
yeah.
just imagining the Crawlers fighting Remmick's vampires.
Seems like Crawlers. Oh, the Crawlers. Yeah, I don't know.
From the descent. I mean, could they, if they are descended from humans, could they be turned into vampires if they were bitten?
Should we get the scores all down, figure out who won, and then talk a little bit about how we rated some of these?
Sure, I think we could do that. So
I think the next thing that we should do, now that we have selected our teams and that we've listed our teams out, I'm going to average the scores, right?
yeah.
And then we're going to then add up our teammates to find out who has the strongest team.
Exactly. We're going to do a bunch of math and then come back.
Yes, it's going to take us much longer than it is the music that you're going to hear during this short break.
Exactly.
It's like time travel, but just for us.
I
think.
love it for you.
Goodbye. Back. See you. I'll be right back. Yeah. 3 years later. I haven't done like math with a calculator in my hands for a while.
That's funny because I do math fairly frequently. And I was wondering
if you should be doing the math.
Yeah, while you were doing, I mean, I went and I, did some other things because that's how time travel works.
Did you stop the JFK assassination?
I did not.
All right.
I facilitated a bedtime.
Fantastic.
Mom, always working.
Well-
While you were doing math in here. What did your math say? You have given me no hints as of yet.
All right. So Team John. And I think in the show notes, you'll put the final teams.
Yes, I will put the final teams in the show notes, but I'll maybe do it at the bottom so you have to kind of scroll through if you want to see it. So it won't spoil anything for you.
Well, and we won't say who the winner is either. We'll just put
Right.
the actual teams.
Yes.
So Team John scored a total score of 615.5 points.
615.5. All right.
Team Rachel dun, 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 scores at 665.5
Whoa.
and takes the first horror villain draft.
Wow. That's not just beating you. That's beating you by a significant amount.
Well, I think that you just don't know what villains are like better villains than other villains. That's what I've determined from this exercise.
Okay. So where were the biggest differences? Where did you lose points and where did I gain points?
Well, so what I did was I took, our scaled points
yes.
that went from what?
34 to 100.
34 to 100. And then I averaged our two scores
Yep.
to get the final score to add them up for our teams.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you what the order is of the final villains? Like after the scores are averaged? So
Yes. So our ranking, according to the two of us.
According to the two of us, number one with an average of 100 was Death from Final Destination.
Interesting. What if we talk about them as we go through?
Okay.
Because I think that'll be easier than going back.
Yeah.
So Death, yeah, that was number one on my list.
Same for me.
And I gave that, maximum points in two things, deadliness and cultural heritage or whatever that one was. Cultural influence.
Cultural impact.
Cultural impact. I can only see the first word in my spreadsheet that I'm looking at on my phone. So it just says horror. And I was remembering poorly because death is so relevant culturally.
Yes. Well, and I didn't rank it at the top of any of those, but it was 1 point short in all the categories. So
Fair.
So it was almost top in all three categories, which obviously...
It was actually not that high on my scariness meter. There was a number of movies that were higher in scariness, but I gave it full marks in deadliness and cultural impact.
All right. So number two, with an average of 92.5 points, was Michael Myers.
Okay, that was number 3 for me.
And for him, I gave him full points in the deadliness / threat level. Because he is unkillable as far as we know from the end of Halloween.
I guess so, but I was thinking more about the villain's ability to kill others. And he scored very high for me, but not perfect.
Well, but deadliness and threat level.
Okay, fair.
The threat level is high if you don't know where he's gone after you shot him 6 times.
That's true. That threat level is high. I was thinking more about deadliness, but...
And then he scored top for me. He got a full 15 points for cultural impact and horror legacy, too.
I gave him a 15 there as well. I think that he's one of the most influential villains, for sure. What comes in third?
Candyman with 88.5.
Yep, that was my number 2. I found these, I think I did a lot of personal feelings, and I find Candyman to be scarier than both Death and Michael Myers.
Well, and he ended up tied with somebody, I'm not sure, on my list. Yeah, I don't know. I can't go back through all of that.
Right.
But he got a bump above somebody else at some point along the way. At number 4, with an average score of 84 points, was the Monstrosity from Smile.
Interesting. That was number 6 on my list.
Yeah, I scored it. I think it was my highest scariness.
It was my highest scariness, too. I gave it a 29 for scariness.
And I gave it a 30 for scare effectiveness.
I must have gone lower on the cultural impact.
Yeah, I was going to at first, but then I remembered we talked about the like the campaign, like the
That's true.
advertising campaign, and that bumped it up for me. And I'm just thinking, I think there would be a lot of people who kind of know the smile from Smile, even if they don't know what the real horror is. At number 5, we had Ghostface with 82 points.
Yep. That was my number 4.
He was my number 6.
Oh, okay, cool.
At number 6, we had The Thing from The Thing with 78 points.
Okay.
At number 7 were The Death Angels.
Oh, wow. And those were lower for me.
Or 76.5.
Yep.
I just think that the tension that they create in their world, they ranked really high for me on scare factor as well.
So I ranked The Overlook at number 7 instead, and it was scarier for me than The Death Angels. I think because it messes with your head. I don't know.
We'll talk about that in a minute when we get to The Overlook.
Okay.
But Pazuzu was next at number 8 with 68.5.
Yep. That was number 8 for me.
And what was it for me? It was number 9 for me, so close.
We're so close on these. I'm actually surprised at how close we are, but keep going.
Number 9 were The Crawlers with 67 points.
Yep.
But I had I guess they were number 8 for me.
And they were 10 for me. Interesting.
And The Overlook was at number 10 with 66.
Alrighty.
But I ranked that low on deadliness and threat level. Like, I ranked it a 9 out of 20 because overall, it doesn't affect everybody. So you can even be in The Overlook and still not be affected because there were all those happy people that were moving out for the winter. So
Interesting. I ranked it really high on scary, and I was at a 13 for deadliness just because it, got people to do its killing for it, but still not super deadly. That makes a good point. But I also gave it super high points for impact culturally. I feel like The Overlook, The Shining is so well known.
Yeah, I gave it a 14 out of 15, I think.
Interesting.
Cool.
So that's our top 10.
I gave it a full 15.
Oh, you gave it a full 15? Oh, I did give it a full 15. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong line.
Yeah, I was just imagining that the twins standing at the end of the hall and the blood elevator, the blood ovator. So at number 11 was The Deadites at 62.5.
Yep.
At number 12, we had Norman Bates with 50, can't read my own writing, 59.5.
Those are my 11 and 12.
Yeah, pretty close for me too.
Huh.
Number 13 was Remmick and His Vampires with 55 points.
Yep.
And number 14 was Jerry Dandridge, the vampire.
Oh, there's a big shift. Jerry Dandridge was number 18 for me. So he must have been higher on your list.
I'm looking for him. He was number 14 on my list.
Oh, wow.
So that ended up still putting him at number 14 overall somehow. Math. Well, the very interesting thing now, after all of those different point scales and everything, we have a 4-way tie for number 15.
Whoa.
So tied with 44.5 points. And so these are in no particular order. They are all equal, according to me and Rachel. The Zombies from Night of the Living Dead, Mrs. Voorhees, Billy Chapman from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Russ Thorn.
Crazy.
So obviously on our personal list, there could be no ties the way we set it up. So interestingly, there were 4 there at number 15.
So fascinating.
At number 19, we have Billy from Black Christmas with 41.5 points. So he was just knocking on the door of that tie a little bit. And then last, but certainly not least, as I said before, Bill Roberts with 38.5 points.
Yeah.
Least cultural impact.
Yep.
By far, nobody's seen that movie except for us.
Yeah, I gave that a 2 for cultural impact.
And I gave it a 5. But so that's really interesting the way that all turned out. But tell me a bit now about sort of how you approached the scoring overall, because you were starting to tell me that at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it was very much reactionary, kind of based on vibes, personal response, right? Like I, for example, found the Monstrosity, gave that a 29 because I guess of all of the villains that we've had, that one I found the scariest, which surprised me because a lot of these scare me. But it does make sense when we think about how much I didn't want to watch Smile when it got spun. Is that movie for me is the scariest of the 20 that we have done deep dives on.
That was what I put too for my scariest.
That's so interesting. I guess that's decided, folks.
And overall, I think I slightly ranked some of the more ethereal, psychological, tension-building threat things higher than you.
Yeah, most of my deadliest are either monsters or murderers.
Monsters or murderers.
Right. I think that was, my highest deadly ones. Yeah, the Crawlers, the Monstrosity, the Thing, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Candyman, and Death. So yeah, and I ranked the physically dangerous ones. I think for me, deadliness was very much about kind of whether or not you die and not as much the threat level. So, and then for culture, I gave quite a few 5 or 6 films a full 15 points on that for having high cultural impact.
Which ones did you give 15s to?
Final Destination or Death, Michael Myers, Ghostface, The Overlook, and Pazuzu, and Norman Bates.
Yes.
Those all felt like really culturally important ones that even people that don't watch horror are familiar with.
That's pretty close for me. I gave a full cultural impact horror legacy score to The Overlook, Norman Bates, Michael Myers,
Yeah.
and the Slow Zombies.
Oh, see, I thought that they did leave a cultural impact in the way that zombies have become.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what it was kind of like the original language that spawned a different language. And I was thinking more specifically of the villain themselves and if they've entered the cultural lexicon. And I feel like the villains from Night of the Living Dead have inspired a lot of villains in other movies, but they themselves are not. So I guess that's another different way that we scored them.
Well, and that's the only one I really did like that, just because it was so big.
No, that makes sense.
Zombies are so huge that even if you're not thinking specifically of Night of the Living Dead, the second that you ask a horror fan, like, where would you say, like, horror zombies started? And we know that, like, Night of the Living Dead is not the starting point.
Right.
But in terms of modern horror culture, that's really where they started. And it was so big that I had to give the 15. And I gave Death from Final Destination a 14.
Yeah, I was on the fence on that. And I think, honestly, if it had been Final Destination 2, if it had been Death from Final Destination 2, it would get a 16 out of 15 because that log truck has to be one of the most commonly known
But that's not from
symbols. But it's not from the first one. I know. And so maybe I was thinking more of like the death from Final Destination, which of course is the same death in later movies. And so maybe I was thinking in terms of legacy in that way.
Fascinating. Well, Rachel takes the cake on this one. She is the first horror villain draft victor.
Yeah, I am.
That means that the only thing we really have left to do this episode is to play the demo for this week.
I'm so excited about this demo.
And just the way that timing has worked out for recording this episode, I'm actually also in the middle of recording the demo as we're recording this. But again, time travel. We've decided to record my song from the A Quiet Place episode, Breaking Our Silence. But if all goes according to plan, you're going to hear both of us singing on it. And I really hope you're going to hear both of us singing on it because I've changed the key of it so that part of it is for Rachel's voice. You're going to be in big trouble if I'm singing it all.
Yeah, it's great where it's at. And so I can't wait to hear it. You're going to hear it sooner than I will.
That's true. This version of Rachel is going to hear it much later than...
The magic of technology.
I just hurt my brain on that. All right, let's...
Your face...
Let's just go to the song.
Looks like you hurt your brain. All right, here's the song.
Breaking Our Silence.
We used to live in peace before the world was left in pieces. fantasies. For this war that never ceases. We did everything exactly like our parents said we should. There was no second guessing, 'cause we barely understood. We took it for granted. We thought that we were timeless. And we were stranded. Our lives were left behind us. We're barely standing. Strength left for defiance. There's only harm in breaking our silence. We used to love this place. And now we're all just hiding away. Before it all fades. Before there's nothing left for taking. We did everything exactly like they taught us back in school. But now we're empty-handed, and there's nothing we can do. We took it for granted. We thought that we were timeless. And we were stranded. Our lives were left behind us. Now we're barely standing. No strength left for defiance. There's only harm in breaking our silence. There's no use in breaking our silence. There's no use. We did everything exactly like our parents said we should. There was no second guessing, 'cause we barely understood. We took it for granted. Thought that we were timeless. And we were stranded. Our lives were left behind us. We're barely standing. No strength left for defiance. There's only harm in breaking our silence.
All right.
Okay.
I hope that was good.
It was interesting. What my hope is that some of that came through to those who are listening and not just to you and me. Like, I think you and I could sit here and look at these lists and like actually really talk about them a lot. And lately I try to save most of those conversations for the podcast, but it might get too deep if we kept doing it. But it is really interesting. I think as a final takeaway, the fact that you and I had very similar lists, that like, even with all of these options that are especially our top ones were very similar.
Yep.
So
Makes
interesting.
sense.
Makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, I guess.
Well, and I've got a hole to fill
Oh, right.
in the Wheel of Horror because
Yeah, you do.
coming up next week, we're doing our deep dive on Rosemary's Baby. So excited. And I believe we're going to do a two-parter on that.
That's the plan.
So the next 2 weeks are going to be Rosemary's Baby. Still got a little bit of time to check that out if you haven't yet. Usually find it streaming on Paramount Plus, but not a sponsor. And I don't know for sure if that's still where it's streaming. We're watching the 4K disc that I got. Don't be fooled by the disc that I got.
I was trying to remember.
I was listening to a thing on copyright law today. I should not be singing anybody else's songs in any sort of way.
Okay.
That's not a song. That was my own thing that I just did. It came from nowhere. It doesn't represent anything. It's not a derivative of anything. Anyway, the point is we have the Wheel of Horror, which is, this is your first time listening, that's how we pick our deep dives. It's a randomizer wheel on my telefono, and I hit spin and it spins it, and it's got 13 spots with 13 horror movies, and right now 3 spots for the sequel. Someday we're going to land on that and get to do a sequel of one of the movies we've already covered. And because last week we randomly spun Rosemary's Baby, that means that the Rosemary Baby spot is vacant on the Wheel of Horror. So let me fill that up. I've got another randomizer wheel that has like 40 movies on it. I call it the feeder wheel. You can call it whatever you want because it's not that essential to the show.
I wonder, so we've watched 20 movies, which means we've spun 19, except we selected 3 of those. So I guess we've spun 16 movies, and we've still never landed on the sequel.
Don't confuse them with more numbers. We just talked about so many numbers. But
I know that's true.
Your point being is, so far, after all these movies, we still haven't spun the sequel, and it's 3 out of the 16 spots, so almost 20%. 20%.
You just said not to do math.
Well, I like my math. That's a number you can grasp on. You're like, out of 16, we spun these. We didn't spin. My point. So now I got to
Spin the wheel.
I'm going to spin the feeder wheel. All right. Spinning.
At least it's a nice sound.
Terrifier.
Oh, no. I mean,
good.
Great. Sure, it'll be fun to talk about.
All right. So let me put that in the empty spot in the wheel. And before we go, I'll tell you the movies we might spin next time around. On the Wheel of Horror, the movies we could possibly spin for a deep dive are A Nightmare on Elm Street, Carrie, Alien, Sleepaway Camp, 30 Days of Night, Weapons, It Follows, Pieces, Terrifier, Strangers, The Strangers, I should say, Child's Play, Audition, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So quite an array.
It really is. I mean, I think our second, if we do another villain draft after the next 20 movies, I think it'll be a really different set of movies in terms of kind of foundational horror, right? We've hit a lot, but there's still so many.
Yeah, and I would say at least a third, if not half of these on this wheel were there from the start.
Right. Like we haven't done Nightmare on Elm Street yet. That's crazy.
Or Alien or...
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, so next week, I'm so excited to talk about Rosemary's Baby. And that's all she wrote? Is that my new catchphrase?
Sure. I mean, you got to keep trying until you find the one that fits.
Bippity. Boop,
Okay.
boop.
See ya.
Bye.